What really happens to your brain? After 70, 10 shocking discoveries. Have you ever wondered what's truly happening inside your brain as you age past 70? You may notice small changes, forgetting names, repeating a story, struggling to find the right word. But is it just normal aging or something more? We often talk about aging bodies, but rarely do we speak honestly about aging minds. In this video, we're uncovering 10 surprising, science-backed discoveries about your brain after 70 that most people don't talk about, but should. These aren't just dry facts. These insights are powerful tools to help you understand what's changing, what's normal, and what you can do to keep your mind sharp, engaged, and respected. Some of these points might surprise you. Some might challenge what you thought you knew. But all of them will invite you to reflect with compassion, not fear, and to take small steps that could make a huge difference in your quality of life. Let's begin. Number 1. You lose brain volume, but not intelligence. Starting around age 60, the brain begins to shrink, a process known as brain atrophy. By your 70s, this becomes more pronounced, particularly in the frontal lobe and hippocampus, regions responsible for executive function, attention, memory, and emotional regulation. You might feel this in small ways, taking a bit longer to find a word, needing a second to remember a name, or having to pause before making a decision. But here's where it gets fascinating. Intelligence is not housed in one single region of the brain. It's distributed across networks. So while volume declines, the capacity for wisdom, comprehension, emotional depth, and nuanced judgment often remains intact, or even improves. That's right, some areas, like emotional intelligence, moral reasoning, and vocabulary, can get sharper with age. You're trading reaction speed for reflection. And in many ways, that's a beautiful evolution. So if you've ever caught yourself saying, "I must be losing it," because you forgot why you walked into a room, pause. That moment doesn't define your brain's worth. What matters more is how you process information, how you listen, how you reflect, and how you guide others. And those abilities, they deepen with time. In fact, researchers have found that older adults activate more areas of the brain when solving problems, suggesting that while younger people may rely on speed, older adults rely on experience, strategy, and perspective. That shift isn't a loss, it's an adaptation. Your brain is finding new paths, forming new connections, and still growing, just in different ways. It's also worth noting that the brain is resilient. Mental stimulation, physical activity, and meaningful connection can all help preserve cognitive function. So yes, brain volume decreases, but neuroplasticity never stops. Every time you read, listen deeply, or engage in meaningful conversations, you're strengthening neural pathways and preserving your cognitive health. So, respect the slower pace, but never mistake it for decline. You may not remember where you left your keys, but you remember what matters: how to love, how to forgive, how to lead with grace. That's not just intelligence, that's wisdom, and it's something no brain scan can measure. Number 2, multitasking gets harder, but focus gets deeper. If you find it more difficult to juggle multiple tasks after 70, you're not alone, and you're not imagining it. Scientific studies confirm that as we age, our brain's ability to rapidly switch between different tasks, what's known as cognitive flexibility, declines. This means that shifting your attention from one activity to another, or trying to keep multiple threads of thought going at once, becomes more taxing on the brain. You might notice this when trying to follow a conversation while cooking, or when the phone rings in the middle of paying bills. You pause, you lose your place, you have to backtrack. This can feel frustrating, especially if you once prided yourself on your efficiency or quick thinking. But here's the hidden truth. While multitasking may decline, something else strengthens: your capacity for deep, sustained focus. Older adults tend to excel at what psychologists call selective attention, the ability to concentrate on one meaningful task while tuning out distractions. In a world that is increasingly fractured by beeping phones, endless tabs, and background noise, this ability is a rare gift. It means you can read a book cover to cover, truly listen during a conversation, or lose yourself in a hobby without constantly checking a screen. This shift isn't a weakness, it's an invitation to slow down, to be more intentional, to savor instead of rush. In fact, younger generations are now being taught mindfulness, a skill that many older adults come to naturally with time. It's the ability to be fully present, to immerse yourself in the moment without being pulled in 5 different directions. You don't need to compete with the speed of the world. You bring something even more valuable: depth. When you give someone your full attention, they feel it. When you approach a task with care, the results show. Your slower pace doesn't mean you've lost your edge. It means you've refined your ability to focus where it matters most. So if multitasking feels harder these days, let that be your cue to simplify, not to stress. Prioritize. Take breaks between tasks. Keep a notepad handy. And above all, trust that the kind of attention you can give now is something the world desperately needs, because depth, presence, and patience are increasingly rare and incredibly powerful. Number 3, memory changes, but not all memory. One of the most common fears people have about aging is losing their memory. And yes, changes do happen. After the age of 70, short-term memory, the kind that helps you remember where you put your keys or what you needed from the grocery store, can start to decline. You may notice yourself forgetting appointments, repeating a story, or momentarily blanking on someone's name. But here's the good news. Not all memory systems are affected equally. Your long-term memory, which stores life experiences, deeply held knowledge, and emotional events, often remains strong. In fact, research shows that older adults are typically excellent at recalling events from their youth and middle adulthood. These rich, vivid memories form the foundation of your identity, and they often grow stronger with time. There's also something called semantic memory, your general knowledge about the world, vocabulary, and concepts, which tends to remain intact or even improve with age. This is why you might forget what you had for breakfast, but still recall the plot of a novel you read 20 years ago, or explain a historical event in great detail. So what's really changing? The brain's hippocampus, which plays a key role in forming new memories, shrinks slightly with age. That's why learning and remembering new names or recent events can be more challenging. But repetition, organization, and association techniques can help. Writing things down, using visual reminders, and linking new information to familiar concepts can all strengthen your recall. Another often overlooked factor in memory performance is attention. Many so-called memory problems in older adults are actually attention problems. If your brain isn't fully focused on what's happening because you're distracted, anxious, or tired, it doesn't encode the memory clearly in the first place. That's not a failure of memory. It's a natural shift in how your brain processes information. Stress, poor sleep, dehydration, and isolation can also interfere with memory. That's why taking care of your overall well-being, getting enough rest, staying connected socially, and keeping mentally active is critical for keeping your memory sharp. The truth is, your memory hasn't disappeared. It's just evolving. You may not be as fast or as automatic in your recall, but you're often more thoughtful, more reflective, and more emotionally attuned to the memories that matter. Instead of beating yourself up over the little slips, Take pride in what you do remember, the lessons, the stories, the perspective. Those aren't just memories, they're legacies. So yes, memory changes, but it's not all loss. There's also wisdom, experience, and emotional depth that no short-term lapse can erase. And those are the kinds of memories the world needs now, more than ever. Number 4, emotional regulation actually improves. One of the most remarkable and underappreciated changes in the aging brain is its growing ability to manage emotions more effectively. While many aspects of cognitive function can slow with age, emotional intelligence often continues to rise and even peak in our later years. Older adults consistently report higher levels of emotional well-being compared to younger people. This isn't just anecdotal, it's backed by neuroscience. The amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm system, shows reduced reactivity in older adults, especially to negative stimuli. That means the things that used to provoke stress, anger, or anxiety might not rattle you the same way anymore. You may find yourself letting go of grudges more easily, choosing peace over confrontation, and appreciating the present moment with deeper clarity. The emotional highs and lows that once felt all-consuming begin to soften, replaced by a steadier, more grounded perspective. This isn't to say that older adults never feel sadness, frustration, or fear. Of course they do. But research suggests that many become better at coping with these emotions. They're more likely to use positive reappraisal, meaning they can reframe a negative experience into something with value or a lesson. They're also more attuned to what really matters and waste less energy on drama or distractions. Think about how many situations in your younger years would have caused stress: being late, missing a deadline, saying the wrong thing. Over time, these begin to lose their grip. You realize what's worth worrying about and what isn't. You gain a kind of emotional clarity that can't be rushed. It comes only with age, with experience, with time. This emotional steadiness also benefits relationships. As older adults become more emotionally attuned, they often become better listeners, more empathetic companions, and more stable sources of support for family and friends. Your ability to bring calm to a room, to be the steady voice when others are spiraling, is a gift, and it's one that others will seek out, even if they don't always say so. So while the culture may focus on the losses of aging, emotional regulation is one of the great, quiet gains. It may not be flashy, but it's powerful. It allows you to stay centered in a world full of noise. It helps you avoid unnecessary conflict and live with greater peace. And perhaps, most importantly, it reminds you that you're still growing, just in different, deeper ways. Your emotions aren't out of control, they're evolving. And with that evolution comes grace, patience, and a new kind of strength that can't be measured in IQ points or memory tests, but only in how you choose to respond to life. Number 5, learning new things becomes harder, but not impossible. It's true, learning something new can feel more difficult after 70. You might find that new information doesn't stick as easily, or that it takes longer to pick up unfamiliar concepts. Whether it's learning how to use a new phone, understanding a new game, or trying out a different recipe, the process may require more repetition, more patience, and a slower pace. This isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that your brain is working differently, not worse, just differently. With age, the brain's ability to quickly form new synaptic connections, called neuroplasticity, slows down a bit. But, and this is key, it never stops. Research shows that older adults still have the capacity to grow and rewire their brains. New neurons can still be created, especially in areas related to memory and learning. But to stimulate this growth, you have to stay mentally active. The more you challenge your brain, the more it responds. The secret lies in how you approach learning. Passive learning, just hearing or reading something once, isn't enough. You need active engagement. This means taking notes, repeating tasks, teaching others what you've learned, and using multiple senses to absorb new information. When you see it, hear it, speak it, and do it, you strengthen the pathways in your brain. Also, don't underestimate the power of curiosity. Adults who continue to ask questions, explore unfamiliar subjects, or practice new skills, whether it's painting, gardening, or even coding, tend to maintain sharper cognitive function well into their 80s and 90s. It's not about being the best at something. It's about staying engaged. And here's another thing. Older adults are often better at understanding why they're learning something. You know what matters to you. You're motivated by meaning, not just novelty. That deeper connection to purpose makes your learning more profound and often more fulfilling. Of course, frustration is normal. You might need to hear something several times before it makes sense. You might have to ask for help. That's okay. What matters is the effort. Every time you choose to step out of your comfort zone, your brain adapts. Every small success, every moment of persistence, it all adds up. So whether it's learning a new dance, picking up a musical instrument, or simply getting comfortable with video calls, remember, your ability to learn didn't disappear. It just requires a little more intention now. And the rewards? Mental agility, emotional confidence, and the joy of proving to yourself that it's never too late to grow. Number 6. Sleep quality affects brain health more than ever. After 70, the brain becomes more sensitive to poor sleep. Less deep sleep and more frequent waking mean the brain doesn't clear toxins as well overnight. That buildup is linked to cognitive decline. The fix? Respect your sleep. Prioritize it. Create a calming bedtime routine. Avoid late caffeine. Because how you sleep now impacts how clearly you think tomorrow. And your clarity matters, to you and to everyone around you. Number 7. Social isolation harms your brain. Loneliness doesn't just feel bad, it literally shrinks parts of the brain. Isolation increases risk of dementia, depression, and memory loss. But here's the hopeful part. Even brief, meaningful social interactions help. A phone call, a walk with a friend, volunteering. Showing up matters, because every time you connect, your brain lights up. Stay social, stay sharp. Number 8. Your brain becomes more positive if you let it. There's a phenomenon called the positivity effect. Older adults tend to focus more on positive experiences and let go of the negative. It's not automatic, but it's common in those who age well. You can nurture this. Practice gratitude. Limit exposure to negativity. Surround yourself with uplifting people and environments. A positive brain is a healthier brain, and you have more control over that than you might think. Number 9. Physical exercise boosts brain function. What's good for the body is great for the brain. Walking, stretching, even light strength training increases blood flow to the brain and encourages the growth of new neural connections. It doesn't take a gym membership. It takes consistency. A daily walk, gentle yoga, movement with purpose. Every step you take protects your memory, your mood, and your mental sharpness. Number 10. Purpose keeps your brain alive. This might be the most important point. When people feel they no longer have a role, the brain begins to shut down. Purpose isn't about work or productivity. It's about meaning. Helping a neighbor, mentoring, creating, contributing. Your brain needs a reason to stay alert. Give it one. Not because you have to, but because you still can. You're not done. There's still value in your voice, your time, your attention. Final thoughts. As you reflect on these 10 discoveries, ask yourself gently, which of these apply to me? Which ones can I strengthen? Which ones do I need to be more honest about? This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. Because when you know what's changing in your brain, you're more equipped to protect it, nourish it, and honor it. Your mind is still capable of joy, curiosity, connection, and growth. You may not be the same as you were at 30, but you are far from finished. So move forward with confidence, with care, with the kind of quiet strength that comes from knowing your brain is still a beautiful, powerful place, one that deserves respect, attention, and love. If this video resonated with you, leave a comment below with the number that stood out most. And if you want to keep learning, stay inspired, and support this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and share. We're grateful you're here, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.